They almost had me. Your Uncle Manny here, and in today's video, I'm going to give you my honest review of Heart Eye. I finally got around to watching it, so let's get into it. Let's start off with the good. To be honest with you, I didn't really have a lot of high hopes for this movie. After watching the trailer, it was one of those kind of movies that you just know what you're getting yourself into, right? Like, you know, it's not a movie that you are going to take 100% serious. You know, it's not a movie that is like going to be the greatest movie of all time, but you're still going in it to see how they pull it off. For me, the opening sequence had me. It was like, okay, I see what y'all doing. I see what y'all doing here. Okay. And then as the opening kills started to happen, I was like, okay, you guys are setting the tone. You're showing me what I need to see in this genre, you know? And I was kind of actually pleasantly surprised by it. As the movie went along, I just was like, okay, I see what they're doing. They're mixing that romantic comedy in there. It is supposed to be a Valentine's Day movie, and I think that they're playing on two different tropes, right? Like the horror tropes and also the romance tropes, you know? And they do blend them very well. And there were parts in here where I felt like, okay, I see what y'all going for. And you can tell that it's a movie that doesn't really take itself too serious. It's a fun movie and it's something that, you know, it's like, all right, cool. It's not bad. Pacing was really good. I felt like it didn't feel like it was too long. It also didn't feel like it was too short. I do like how they play into the traditional horror tropes without really leaning too heavily into them. It's not a movie that is gonna be like following the rules all the time. You know what I mean? There was a part where I felt like, man, okay, I can see what movie they're pulling this from. Is this what it is? Like, is this what's gonna happen? I found myself trying to figure out who the killer was, and I felt like they did that on purpose, obviously, right? Like they're showing us things that are making horror fans say, oh yeah, this is the killer. That has to be him. I think they did that very well early on. They also blend the romantic comedy tropes in a way that I felt like you knew that they were kind of like making fun of them. You know what I mean? Like I feel like this movie is like a spoof on romantic comedies, but told from like a horror lens, if that makes sense. I think they do both those fairly well, with one not taking precedence over the other. It's not too scary, it's not too gory. I know some people when they saw the trailer, they felt like it was gonna be really gory, but I feel like this is something that isn't as gory as you might think. So if that was holding you from watching this movie, then just know that it's not as gory as you think it is. One thing I found interesting and got me thinking was the movie at one point mentions that the serial killer could possibly be a woman. It got me thinking. I can't remember the last time I seen a slasher movie where the killer was actually a woman. I had to stop and think, like, man, why hasn't anybody made that movie? If you know a slasher movie where the main killer was a woman, please let me know in the comments because I would love to watch that because I can't remember the last time I've actually seen that before. Now let's get on to the part where I said they almost had me. Now let's talk about the things that I feel are the bad parts of this movie. The incomplete third act, in my opinion, felt like it was rushed. It felt like they just honestly gave up at the end. The killer reveal wasn't really like surprising. And like even in the movie, they're like, who are you? Felt like they rushed the reveal and then there was no real like payoff. Like even the characters in the movie didn't care who it was. So it's like, how do you expect me to care or be like, oh, that makes total sense. And you know, and while I'm seeing the reveal, I'm still expecting there to be a twist. Speaking of the third act, the final fight, in my opinion, it was just lackluster, and I felt like it was really disappointing. Like it was kind of over fast, and it's just like they big up the killer so much in this movie and how it's so powerful. And if we think about slashers in the past, we think about how a lot of them are kind of like supernatural, if that makes sense. And we're talking about a killer that has been doing this for a long time, and it just felt like they beat them too easily. Like the killer was beaten too quickly, in my opinion. I felt like there should have been a little bit more at the end, you know? But the final kill, I did think that it was pretty good. It was a little gruesome, but it wasn't anything that we haven't seen before. Another thing that I really didn't like was there was like a weird like sexual tension throughout the movie from Jordana Brewster. Like the character that she was playing just it just didn't feel right. Like it was just like it just felt weird. And I don't know if they did that on purpose, like it was purposely done in a way to make fun of those kind of characters. And if that's the case, then she did a really good job with that. it just didn't feel right coming from her. I'm so used to seeing her as a badass from the Fast and Furious series that it just didn't fit. It just felt like she was trying too hard, and I just didn't really like it. That being said, I'm gonna give Heart Eyes a overall rating of a C plus for originality and just basically being an average addition to the holiday slasher horror genre, if you will. It wasn't bad. I just felt like it wasn't something I'm gonna go back and watch again. You know what I mean? Like it was just okay. And I was like, okay, I didn't waste my time watching it. So, you know what? A C plus, in my opinion, I feel is a good rating for that. If you're watching this video after you watch the movie, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. I would love to talk about it. That being said, I'm Uncle Manny. Stay positive, watch good movies. Peace. Hey, thanks for watching the end of the video. You must have liked it, so hit that subscribe button. And if you want to watch the next video, it's right here, man. Go ahead. What you waiting for?